As we mentioned in our first impressions video, the OnePlus 6 feels like a T variant of the 5T from last year. There are a lot of similarities as well as several differences between the two. This is Sandeep from RevAtlas, and while it's still too early to do a full-fledged comparison, here's a quick overview on what's different. The OnePlus 6 is only slightly bigger than the OnePlus 5T, which itself was a tad bit bigger than the OnePlus 5. Of course, one of the primary reasons for the larger form factor is the bigger and wider 6.28-inch 19:9 aspect ratio optic AMOLED display with Full HD Plus resolution compared to the 18:9 6-inch display on the 5T. While the display is bigger, there's a notch, and as a result, if we exclude the portions to the sides of the notch, the overall screen estate is not too different. You can hide the notch as well if you dislike it. In terms of build quality, the design remains vastly similar. The sleek curved back along with an accented bezel all along the side, which OnePlus calls the horizon line, still remains. The main difference lies in the materials used and the resulting change in terms of feel and handling. Gone is the aluminum back, and in favor comes the Gorilla Glass 5 panel, which is also present on the display. The glass here is purely for aesthetics and do not facilitate wireless charging, as the feature isn't present on the device. Speaking of aesthetics, the new layout for the camera setup at the rear looks much more elegant and refined than the previous one, which stood out like a sore thumb. The OnePlus 6 is also water resistant, but reports indicate that it's actually more splash resistant than proper submersion resistance. The fingerprint scanner is still ceramic and always active unit and is extremely fast, but the shape has now been changed from the circle on the 5T to a squarish one. Doesn't impact the performance though. The glass panel itself feels quite unlike glass, to be honest. At least on the midnight black and silk white variants, which have a soft touch feel and offer great grip. The white is smoother, but the black is coarser. The mirror black variant though is clearly reflecting its glass nature, pun intended. There's an Avengers variant also thrown into the mix for the OnePlus 6 that has a carbon fiber weaving pattern underneath the glass. Coming to the processing power, the chipset gets upgraded from the Snapdragon 835 on the 5T to 845, while the RAM is still 6 and 8 along with 64 and 128 gigs of storage and dual nano SIM slots. The phone also runs on Oxygen OS with Android 8.1 early out of the box, and will also support Android P Beta if you wish to enroll for it. There's a 256GB variant as well for the OnePlus 6, but in India that option is only available if you opt for the Avengers edition. The camera setup at the back has a different position, but most of it remains the same internally too. It's still a 16MP f1.7 sensor, but the Sony IMX519 is a larger 1.26-inch size compared to the 1.28-inch on the 5T, and the pixel size too has been increased from 1.12 on the 5T to 1.22 on the 6. The secondary 20MP Sony IMX376K with f1.7 aperture and 1 micron pixel size for low-light photography remains the same on both the devices, and so does the front-facing 16MP Sony IMX371 with f2 aperture and 1 micron pixel size. It's too early for a camera review or an in-depth comparison, but here are some samples that showcase how they stack against each other. The OnePlus 6 definitely has some artifacts as a result of the over-sharpening, while the 5T seems more natural. But the portrait mode is better on the OnePlus 6 as it has better sharpness on the region that isn't blurred, and the OnePlus 6 also introduces portrait mode for the front camera and will roll out soon after the phone is released. The phones at the booth were running a beta build of the camera software, so don't take these as the final results. The more powerful processor on the 6 adds the ability for 4K 60fps video as well as 480p slow motion at 720p. So this is the front-facing camera of the OnePlus 6 capturing 1080p video. Let me know what you guys think about the overall image quality, the sharpness, dynamic range, and how well the stability is compared to the OnePlus 5T itself. So this is the front-facing camera on the OnePlus 5T capturing 1080p video at 30fps. Let me know what you guys think about the overall sharpness, the image quality, dynamic range, and also how well it's picking up my voice. The headphone jack still remains, and you still have a 3300 mAh battery that can be recharged in no time using the dash charge technology. The alert slider has now been moved from the left to the right, and it has swap positions with the volume key. The OnePlus 6 may very well be a great all-rounder of a device, but I'm not sure whether it actually would be worthy of an upgrade for someone with a 5T. From the OnePlus 5 it definitely seems worthy, but from the 5T it doesn't at least seem worth it, not currently. We'll compare the two in detail soon as well. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next one.